Now, a Missouri city struggles to come back after being wiped out by a deadly tornado just 4 months ago. Jeffrey Brown reports.
You just want to overlap it just a little bit.
The story of Joplin, Missouri, told in a mural in progress. From its founding in the 1870s as a small mining community to a city 50,000 strong of families and faith. And there's this, a moment in history that changed everything here, when the trees fell and the winds from a gigantic tornado blew down about a third of the town, leaving residents old and young reeling and hoping for a brighter future.
I just hope that all the damaged areas will be rebuilt and everyone will be able to have a good home again.
The tornado struck at 5:40 p.m. on May 22nd. It killed 162 people and destroyed or damaged some 7,500 buildings. 4 months later, residents are still literally picking up the pieces.
It's certainly clean compared to what it used to be.
Jane Cage, a business owner and chairwoman of a citizens commission to rebuild Joplin, took us on a tour.
Are people going to rebuild?
You know, it's an excellent question. In the beginning, I think everyone said, I want to rebuild my house. And now I think people are faced with the reality that what they wanted, you know, their neighborhood and their friends may not be in that same spot.
If there's a symbol of what happened here and what could come from it, it's this, the mangled wreckage of Joplin High School. The once proud home of the Eagles is a daily reminder of the incredibly destructive force of the storm. But the school has also come to stand for hope and what hard work and goodwill could bring this city in the future. That hope begins here. Just 2 days after the storm, with more than half of Joplin's classrooms wiped out, Superintendent C.J. Huff made a promise that school would start on time in the fall. And it did, with the new Joplin High in an abandoned department store.
It really became a rallying point for the community, and we had a lot of conversations about how we could make that happen, but got everybody intensely focused on a goal.
You set a high bar, right? And the whole community's watching.
The whole community, and actually the entire nation, I guess, was watching.
It's a temporary space, but one designed as a blueprint for what a high-tech educational experience could be here. It didn't hurt that each student was given a new laptop computer, a gift from the government of the United Arab Emirates.
We've been talking about 21st century learning, 21st century skills, and what a 21st century high school might look like, and saw this as a great opportunity to test drive a new school prior to actually building a permanent school.
Yeah, that's cool.
Emma Cox, who lost her house as well as her school, says getting back to class was a return to normalcy, but one with a twist.
We're going to be the first class that graduates from a mall. I mean, I've never heard of anything like that, but I mean, I guess there's a first time for everything, so we're excited to set the standards high.
Got $2 is your change.
Many in the business community were also determined to return to some sort of normalcy. David Sterrett's pharmacy was completely destroyed on that Sunday in May. But just 6 days later, he had leased a new space, installed shelves, ordered inventory, and opened his doors for business.
I had customers that were dependent on me to get up and going as quickly as possible. I just couldn't see sitting around. It was, I think, vital for our business, not only for my personal business interests, but for the community and my customers as well, that we get up and going.
But not everyone has been so fortunate. We met Ray and Terry Malcolm at the empty concrete slab where their daycare center had stood for 20 years. They say a tangle of regulations has made it hard to rebuild.
Red tape.
Red tape?
Red tape is exactly what this is. We wanted to get started really quick, and it's been a matter of dealing with the insurance companies, which has been a nightmare.
Our first playground was massive, and we built it by hand, and now you can't do that. They don't want wooden items because they can't be sanitized. And now just for a slide alone, it's $36,000.
But
and we don't got that.
Money, of course, and more than most insurance settlements will provide, is one of the huge challenges going forward. The city has already received $175 million from FEMA for emergency rebuilding. but it will need much more for the long term. At one of the city's leading and now destroyed institutions, St. John's Mercy Hospital, Jane Cage told us that future aid is critical.
This is a hospital that was built in the 50s and 60s. Well, it's not the way healthcare works in the 21st century. So we have a chance to build a hospital that meets needs today.
But that's going to take money. That's going to take a lot of resources, huh?
It is going to take a lot of money, and I will tell you that I believe everyone in Joplin is working as hard as they can work, and we're not waiting for help, but we know that it's a task that's beyond us. We can't do this all ourselves.
In the meantime, the emotional healing continues.
And this was,
Oh boy.
this was his office.
Walking through her severely damaged home, Joe Mueller says the storm left so many here confused and unsettled.
It's just an amazing sense of loss, even for people who didn't live right there in that zone. You come across scenes that don't make any sense. You know, the landmarks are gone, and it gets you. It gets you right here.
One way people learn to cope, Mueller says, is by sharing their stories. And as the director of Joplin's 60-year-old Spiva Center for the Arts, Mueller is giving them that chance.
Look at this.
You know, this pretty amazing fork.
She's asked people to send objects and mementos for a planned exhibition that will tell the story of the storm.
Yeah, the first thing that came in was this Bible. It's, you know, this leather-bound Bible. It was a gift from the husband to the wife on their wedding anniversary. Their home was completely obliterated, and they went back and found this. So we expect to have poignant things, humorous things. It all will lie in the stories that we are told about these items.
The Spiva Center has also mounted an exhibit called On the Other Side, featuring both professional and amateur artists who've created new work in response to the tornado. Mueller's own piece reflects on the loss of her cherished family photos. Many works here depict the stripped and deformed trees left in the twister's wake. And there's this, a sculpture of items collected in and around the destroyed childhood home of Evelyn Duval. Do you remember the first thing that you picked up here?
The first thing I picked up was this pendulum over at my parents' house from their clock.
Monopoly houses, an old 45 record, pieces of neighborhood life. Evelyn Duval hardly considers herself an artist. She works at a mental health center. This work, she says, came from a need to pick up those pieces and pay tribute.
I had bags full of stuff, and it was like, you know, and then the idea came of what to do with it.
And then it became a work of art, in a sense.
And then it became a work of art. That's
Did
right.
that surprise you?
It surprises me a lot because
that's not who you are, really, or who you think of yourself, right?
That's right.
And she says the act of creating became her own path to healing.
It helped me cope with what had happened. And I think that that's important, and we all have to find our own way to deal with it.
Emotional and physical scars everywhere. But planning for the future is now in high gear. Both St. John's Hospital and Joplin High hope to have new buildings by 2014.